When the world is just too much, turn it off and turn on positive, encouraging K-Love.
I'm gonna praise.
World off. K-Love on.
K-Love is sunshine for my soul.
I love K-Love.
Listen now on your radio, online, or on the free K-Love app.
K-Love makes me feel so good.
Positive, encouraging K-Love.
One of these men is a highly respected New York attorney, Lucas A. Ferrara. The other is a self-proclaimed man of the people, known as Mert Roberts. Their aim is to discuss the hottest issues impacting our city, state, and nation. Fasten your seatbelts. Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live, starts now on AM 970. The Answer.
Interesting. And pray tell, what's the name of that one, Alex?
Good evening, Lucas. This is called Family Matters by Echo Beats.
Oh, and boy, does family matter, Alex, particularly for a lot of people. Do you know what today is, Mert?
Sunday.
Yes, but what is today? Today is a national...
Oh, Father's Day. Yeah, Father's Day. Sorry about that. Father's Day.
No, I think you should zonk him, because Alex knows what today's name really is. Alex?
I do, but I'm not giving it away. That's your job tonight, Luke.
What? You know what? That's for you, Mert. Zonk. I'll tell you why. We need to step into a controversy that's got quite a few and a lot of fury, Mert. The New York State Legislature, this is in New York, voted to replace the words mother and father in state law with the terms, ready for this? It's despicable stuff. Gestating parent and non-gestating parent. Crazy, right? That's right. The judges are going crazy, too.
So happy non-gestating Parents' Day today.
That's right. That was the answer, Mert. But no more mother and father. Now, we're talking about the law, Mert. The legal backbone of how the state defines family, parentage, responsibility, and rights. And the public reaction, explosive. Look, nothing in American life is more loaded than the words we use to describe family. So no one should be surprised by the backlash. Look, you could change tax codes, you could change zoning laws, even criminal laws, and people will grumble, but ultimately they won't care, okay? But this bill is not just a legal update, but a national Rorschach test. And quite a few other states, Mert, have already walked this road or are halfway down it. So settle in. This is a deep dive into the parentage wars, the fight over what the law will call the people who bring children into the world, and who raise them, who love them, and who fight for them. Now, before you comment, let's give the audience the basics. Ready? So as I said, mother becomes gestating parent. Father becomes non-gestating parent. This is the law, Mert. Paternity becomes parentage. Filiation becomes legal parent-child relationship. If you're a lawyer, you shrug, because this kind of stuff happens all the time. Statutes are old, science changes, families change, courts adopt, and the law has to catch up. But if you're not a lawyer, and that's who we're talking to, our audience, if you're a parent, a grandparent, a voter, a cultural participant, you hear something very different. You hear the state telling you the words you grew up with, the words that define your family, and the words that carry emotional weight are being replaced by clinical, bureaucratic, sterile terminology, pure wokeness. And this isn't just about language, Mert. It's about symbolism. It's about identity. And in culture primed for outrage, this bill was gasoline. You ready to light the fire, Mert?
Well, yes, but you know what? You need to start ending the segments with these tremendous soliloquies you go on, because that would have been a perfect soliloquy to go to commercial break.
Well,
because
thank you very much.
That was beautiful. You have an artistic ability to put sentences together and display your passion. But I am confused. I am confused as a big-time millionaire lawyer, how are you so frustrated by something like this? Because this is not particularly, your profession is why we have stuff like this. And I'm not saying this is bad.
But you don't think it's absurd? You don't think it's absurd, Mert? I mean, that's the point.
No. Let me say this.
Oh, Lord.
They say rules are meant to be broken, but there are certain customs that we start to display.
They're changing the word. They're changing the rules, Mert. You're okay with that?
I'm trying to explain myself. I mean, okay. I'll just give you your answer. I'm okay with it.
Serious?
Well, I was trying to give you that while I'm okay with it, but you keep rushing me. You want me to rush
the judges zonked you for that response. Can you? Come on. Why are you okay with it?
I'm trying to explain it to you. You're very anxious today, but let me explain it to you.
Yeah, because this sets me off. This really sets me off.
And
okay.
I'm trying to be sensitive to that because I can hear the the anger in your voice. But the reason that it doesn't upset me is because this is becoming something that we customarily have to deal with. People are fighting over their identities. People want to be recognized. And then you have people in the legal profession that are seeing opportunities to go after those, such as you and me, who believe that, we shouldn't be playing around with language like this. But you have those
it's the Democrats, Mert. Your friends. It's your friends, the Democrats, who like to redefine gender and clarify how we should speak.
Hold on a second. I'll let you get to that. But you have those in the legal profession who see an opportunity to take people to court, and they're actually winning because they're like, wait a minute. Recognize this person. It's offensive. You're making this person uncomfortable in the workplace. And this is where it all starts. This is where it starts.
That's right. This
is where
it's going to be fuel. It's going to be fuel for more litigation. That's for sure. But people are not reacting well to it, Bert. I think you're in the minority once again. You got Bruce Blakeman. He's a GOP guy running for governor in New York, and he wrote in Kathy Hochul's New York, "Mom is now defined as gestating parent, not when I'm governor."
Well, hold it right there.
Tinney.
Hold it right there. Hold it right there. I don't have to react in a negative way or a positive way, because some of these things I can sit back and I can analyze and say, you know what? If the people are asking for this nonsense, they're going to get it. So
who's asking for it? Are you asking for it, Mert? I'm not asking for it. Alex, are you asking for it?
Hold on a second.
I'm not asking for it.
Hold on a second.
So what are you talking about, Mert? It's the woke. It's the left.
Hold on.
They're like telling us how to speak and how to think. That's pure and simple.
Hold on a second. The people who are asking for it are the liberals of New York City, who dominate New York City. So let's not get that twisted. The conservative
Well, that's right.
viewpoint.
Representative Claudia Tenney on that point said,
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on.
The party that can't define a woman, they cannot define a woman, is now rewriting New York law to erase mothers and fathers. And you're okay with that, Mert?
Well, let me finish my point, because you keep, you're in a rush for some reason. Listen.
No, I'm not in a rush. I'm just telling you
You're in a rush.
How people are reacting. You're in the minority. You said you're okay with it.
I'm not. Let me explain, because you're anxious. Listen. The city of New York, the state of New York, has leaned into these type of policies decade after decade. So in
Mother
New York,
and father.
Yeah, so in New York...
No. Give me an equivalent to that. Mother and father. Alex, what is he talking about? This is really a new line in the sand.
No, it's not. No, the line has been getting pushed further and further. See, that's what you're missing. See, if you would slow down and let me educate... Hold on, Alex, hold on.
I know what we're saying, though.
Hold on, Alex, hold on. If you would slow down and let me explain this to you, you'll understand. This line has been constantly pushed. What all of a sudden gets in front of the line, meaning it is acceptable, that's constantly changing because we're getting more and more extreme with this line.
But you do understand
so
the
it makes sense.
Hold
on a second.
It's control. It's control of speech, Mert. This means if this law passes, it hasn't been signed yet. It's on the governor's desk, Mert, and she has said she doesn't know whether she's going to sign it or not yet. But it's passed the legislature. It's just waiting for the governor's signature. And even the Conservative Party, Gerald Kasser, he's the chair, told the New York Post, this is woke culture gone amok, an unnecessary and unwasteful use of time. And that captures it in an essence. Yeah, go ahead.
Listen,
make your point.
you're giving me, information, facts, but I'm telling you what the real is. You're giving me just facts. Those facts become hard to decipher if you don't provide context. The context to all this is when you fight for, hey, everybody can use the same bathroom. You see that all around. I was at a restaurant the other day. It was unisex bathrooms. So that is something that was once taboo that is all of a sudden acceptable. So when this line you speak of constantly gets pushed back, it makes sense why a state like New York would be open to something like this, because it is no longer scary to consider something like this. It makes perfect sense.
This is an attack on tradition. This is attack. This is ideology over biology, Mert.
There is no tradition. Okay. That doesn't exist. There's no tradition. That doesn't exist. I'm sorry to break this to people, but what your parents, your grandparents got to live and experience will not be your experience. It doesn't exist.
Shame. It's a shame. That's why the family unit is in such disarray. That's why young people are so depressed and report that they're lost. Okay? Why do you think the kids are so confused? Why? Okay?
Wait. Hold on.
Because
wait a minute.
Of nonsense like this.
No, you're wrong. Nope, they're not confused.
Oh, really?
This is what they believe. See, you don't make that mistake of thinking people are confused, because you'll overlook the real issue. It is your job, if you disagree with what's going on, to make your case and try to convince people who feel like all this stuff is the correct way to do things and they feel like this is positive. It is your job to convince them that it's not. They are not confused. This is what they believe. Don't ever make that mistake.
But
no one's confused here.
I'm going to give you facts because you seem to make stuff up. A 2025 Pew Research Center survey found that 62% of Americans, 62%, Mert, oppose replacing traditional gender terms in official documents, which is what this is.
Well, wait a minute.
62% oppose. Only 36%, Mert, support more inclusive.
What is the New York City poll?
So we are bending to the minority. And that, to me, I find objectionable. Okay?
I see you to answer that. What does the New York City poll say?
This is a national survey. I'm giving you a national perspective.
This is a thing that's happening in New York.
This is not just unique to New York, as I said before. There are other states. It's not New York City.
Well,
it's the
you have
entire
to go
state, by the way.
You have to do a poll of just those states, because in other states this is not an issue. It's only in
California.
States.
You're going to really go by California, Mert? Is it a surprise that California?
Well, hold on.
Okay, they allow men to compete in women's sports. Are you surprised?
See, I think what you're doing, you have to really stay on topic, because what you're doing is you're going off
State.
topic.
Are you surprised, Washington State? Okay,
no, I'm not. Let me respond to you.
Maine, Vermont. Are you concerned? Are you confused that these states are all doing the same thing? These are all bastions of wokeness.
I think you're confused because you just said they're bastions of wokeness, but you're going to a national poll, which doesn't make sense. You need to poll these areas that are changing the laws.
Well, those areas probably like it, but I'm telling you, 62% of Americans don't.
So you trying to tell me what the people in Alabama feel? Should the people in New York care about what they feel?
Well, the majority it used to be the majority rules, right?
That's not how it works.
That whole thing has been tossed on its head, and now we got to kowtow to the minority. And God forbid, we don't identify the way call people the way they identify. We can go to jail, right, Mert? Is that what you want?
Listen, I got you right there because you're not addressing the facts. the facts are.
I've been talking facts the whole show here.
This is you're distorting the facts because you're giving me a national poll to talk about what New York City is supposed to feel.
Well, you know what the New York representatives are very liberal. There's
so
no question about it, but that doesn't make it right, Mert. That's what we're talking about. Alex,
this is where you're
avoiding.
wrong.
He's avoiding. He says there's nothing wrong.
Here's what happens. The culture now is if you misidentify someone, you're going to, as Lucas says, jail.
That's what's going to happen.
You're going to prison.
This is what's going to happen, Mert. Very good, Alex. You're absolutely right. If this law passes and I go to court, if I use the word mother or father,
it's not a fact.
I could get sanctioned by a judge
give me a fact.
for using a word that is not approved.
Opinion now. You're giving me opinion
I'm
now.
not
That's
giving
not a
opinion.
fact.
I'm for telling you what will happen. People will get sanctioned for using the word mother and father, and that is absurd. This is just control. It's control.
It's not a fact.
And we should object to being controlled. What are they going to do next, Mert? They're going to say we can't talk sister, we can't talk sister and brother, we can't talk aunt and uncle, we can't talk niece and nephew.
What you're doing?
Where does this stop, Mert?
What you're doing is you're mixing in fact with emotion, and you know better than that. You shouldn't be doing that because you keep talking about what other
Because when
states
you talk
feel.
about family, you can't get more emotional than the family unit, Mert. And
Yes,
I'm
you
not
can.
going to call my father the non-gestating parent.
Well,
That's absurd.
Go move to one of those states that doesn't do it, and you'll be able to call them what you prefer
I'm
to call
staying
them.
right where I am, and I'm going to refuse to use this absurd terminology.
I'm gonna go get some people and round you up and get you out of here since you don't want to. We're gonna get you up out of here since you don't want to follow the rules of New York. We're gonna get you out of here, and we're gonna chase you to somewhere else where you can feel at home. And they're probably not gonna like you because a lot of places don't like big-time millionaire lawyers, so you might not be liked anywhere you go.
I'm not a big-time millionaire lawyer. I'm struggling to live on my Social Security, okay? But here's the truth, okay? Stripped of spin, because I know that Mert likes spin.
You got to stop spinning. You're spinning like a wheel that's going 1,000 miles per hour. So you're spinning. That's you spinning. So stop with the spin.
Okay, but here's the truth. New York hasn't erased mothers and fathers, not yet anyway. It's rewriting the legal dictionary to match the world as it is, not the world as it was. I get it. You know what? A mother may be a man these days, and a father may actually be a mother when it comes to certain roles, and those old 50s words may not neatly work. I get it. But language is emotional, my friend. Family is emotional. Identity is emotional. It impacts me. And when you change the words people use to describe the most intimate relationship in our lives, you're just not amending laws. You're touching something that I think, and I think many people out there think is sacred. That's why this fight is loud, Mert. That's why it's national, and that's why it ain't going
You
away.
gotta stick to the facts. This is not a national issue. This is a New York issue, and you're confusing the people.
I just gave you a bunch of other states.
You're bringing we're talking about New York and those few states that have a way of doing things, and they support it. So trying to lump in, don't forget of a thing called states' rights that exists. So if a state says they want to do things a certain way,
no state has the right to, destroy the family unit.
Well,
and
take it to the Supreme
reuse.
Court and fight it in the courtroom. That's the only way you can.
I'm surprised you don't see the absurdity. I'm disappointed.
Look, no. Hold on. I could leave New York if I think it's that absurd. But guess what? A lot of people aren't going to do. They're going to live here, and they're going to tolerate those people who want to change this stuff up because those people generate tons of money for this state, and they don't want those people to leave either. So guess what they do? They say, you know what? To make you feel comfortable, you want to be trans, you want to be gay, whatever. We're going to make you feel accommodated because you bring more value.
I have no problem accommodating people and their gender identities. The problem I have is wokeness and control of speech, telling me how to speak. And let me tell you this. You're listening to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas Live. We're truly honored to have you along with us for the ride. This is episode 102. Would you believe it? This is Lucas Ferrara, and we're ever mindful that without you we're nothing. Truly grateful to have your support. We've got some great guests in store for you today, but before we unleash them, I want to formally introduce my co-host, Mert Roberts. You heard from him. He wants to kill mothers and fathers everywhere, God forbid. And we're engineering and producing tonight's show. Alex Garrett's got a 5-star rated podcast, One Leg Up with Alex Garrett. Now, after the break, we've got a great guest, Joe DeNicholas. He's the author of Seeking Sanity, and I guess we could use some of that. His work digs into the emotional overload of modern life. So don't you dare drift. Don't you dare blink. Shake It Off with Bert, Alex, and all of us here at AM 970 will return right after these messages. You know what? Quick break. On the other side, Joe DeNicholas, Seeking Sanity. Because apparently we're all one email, one traffic jam, one family text thread away from losing it.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. Do you have great memories of summer from your childhood? Summer to me was like, it was the best. It was what got me through the second semester of school, everything I wanted to do. I just looked forward to so badly, and I couldn't wait until those days hit. And not just to be done with school, but to get to go to a Christian camp where I learned about Jesus. I grew in my faith, made great friends. To this day, some of my deep friends came from that time period of my life, and I experienced God in nature in a way that I just couldn't where I grew up. And I didn't grow up in the inner city, which is where a lot of kids that enjoy Angel Tree Camp are living, with parents who are incarcerated, but who have turned a page and say they want to do something different in their life than they have done in the past. In fact, they've completed the Angel Tree Bible study in the prison system, and they have requested for their children an opportunity to attend Angel Tree Camp. Friends, there's not a lot that we can do to sometimes have tangible impact on the crime and the situations that we face in the culture. But Angel Tree Camp is a solution that works in a profound way, because children that get to go to Angel Tree Camp are changed forever. This is kind of how it works. They show up on the first day wondering if they're going to be the only one who has parents in prison. And at the end of day 2, they've discovered that everyone at the camp is in the same situation they're in. But they're also enjoying nature and seeing stars and eating great food and having bonfires and learning about Jesus, some of them for the first time. Friends, make this possible for a child this year. 888-206-2794, 888-206-2794, 888-206-2794. Give a gift and help a child experience God this year. Go to thatkevinshow.com. Click the Angel Tree banner at the top of the page.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround, and when it comes to marketing, consider us your personal move you forward company. In a recent study, we found that 53% of local businesses were classified as novices when it came to designing, implementing, and managing their marketing needs. And that's where Salem Surround truly shines. We're a full-service marketing agency Sanity that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be. Let us give you an absolutely free audit of your current marketing and what your competition is doing. Our digital sales and support teams are the best in the industry and deliver customized personal service that's second to none.
If you're a local business and ready for the next step, Google Salem Surround New York right now. Our experts are ready to help you take your marketing to the next level. Google Salem Surround New York today.
Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
Okay, what's the name of that one, Alex?
Sanity's Requiem by Aberrant Reality.
Ah, Sanity's Requiem. How appropriate. Because we're joined by Joe DeNicholas, a licensed therapist, contemplative teacher, and founder of Unbreakable Inc. His path into mental health is anything but typical. He began his career as an electrical engineer, would you believe that, Bert? Designing integrated circuit chips before realizing that professional achievement didn't equal inner peace. That turning point led him into clinical social work, experiential therapy, and years of study in meditation and contemplative traditions. You should explore that, Mert. Joe now blends science, spirituality, and practical psychology to help people navigate anxiety, emotional overload, and the relentless pace of modern life. And I, for one, could certainly use his help after that first segment. His new book, Seeking Sanity, How to Cultivate Peace, Happiness, and Well-Being in a World Gone Mad, was published in 2025, and it distills the insights he shared with clients for years, offering grounded tools for anyone trying to stay centered when everything around them feels crazy. He lives and writes near Boulder, Colorado, which is a state that's also gone crazy and woke with the elimination of mother and father, as we talked about before, and he focuses exclusively on mental health, mindfulness, and helping people reclaim clarity and calm. Welcome to the program, Joe.
Well, thanks very much. Happy to be here.
All right, Joe, the Mertonator wants to start off with a question, so here we go.
First off, I'm hoping you're having a good day. And I didn't know you had an electrical background, because I was, a question that just popped into my mind, because Lucas is such an irritant, and he's sitting over there just in a pool of his own sweat because he's so fired up about these.
Yeah, he got me so upset, Joe. Please, anyway.
I heard.
Is there any chance we can set up a way for him to get shocked whenever he gets irritated like this with all this sweat dripping on his? But seriously,
absolutely,
let me ask you
that's not hard to do.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
I might need to hire you for that.
All right, get to your question, Bert. Get to your question.
Look, see, he's angry. He's upset. But let me ask you this. How do we deal with a guy like Lucas who he sees New York City going in a very liberal direction, but a guy like Lucas has a tremendous business in this city? Mentally, what would you give him in an advice? What would the advice be that you give somebody like this who has to deal with that conflict where, man, I have a successful life here, but I don't like where it's going? How do people deal with that?
Yeah. I think with two things, I would say. Patience and compassion. And so realizing that we're all struggling. We're all struggling in very similar ways. And we're all trying to figure out, we're in a world that's moving very, very quickly and changing very, very quickly, much faster than we've ever had to adapt. If you think back even 40 or 50 years of my life, how different the world is now and how quickly things are changing with AI. And it's just too fast for all of us. We don't adapt this quickly mentally and emotionally. And so we're all struggling. And I think that's where, if we can find common ground with each other and realize that, we're all in this together, we're all in the same boat, we're all trying to figure this out, and we have to be patient with each other while we all figure this out and what we want the world to be. But I tend to think that for me, it sounds like I'm suggesting we be unselfish, but I think compassion and patience are are actually wisely selfish because they feel better than anger and resentment and hatred. Though that's not going to be a way forward, right? And so if I'm being selfish and I want to feel better, I'm gonna lead with love rather than leading with hatred and resentment.
Now, Joe, can selfishness and desperation and just feeling the pressure of trying to survive, can all of those exist at the same time? Because I feel like because people are so desperate to achieve and get the most money and, success is the ultimate goal, it puts you in a situation where you kind of have to be selfish because you have to focus on yourself, and you might not feel like we're all in this together because you might feel like other people are competition. So does that make having compassion difficult when you feel like everybody's against me? The tax people are against me. My job is against me. These bills are against me. How can you have compassion when you feel like you're constantly being attacked?
That's a great question. And it's a difficult question, to be honest with you, because that's when you feel like you're being attacked, your automatic psychological response is to go on the defensive, right?
Right.
But you have to ask a practical question, two practical questions. What do we want as a society, and how are we going to get there? And so even though, and this is the thing that I think I've had to kind of adjust how people have received the book and how they receive my message. I'm not suggesting we don't try to make the world better. I'm not suggesting we don't try to make our lives better. I think people should make as much money as they possibly can. I think they should be as aggressive as they can be within their own ethical and moral frameworks. And at the same time, we have to look at, what am I trying to achieve? What is happiness? What is peace of mind? And how are they going to happen? And so there can be a place where I can be wisely selfish and take good care of myself, take good care of my mind, and act like an ethical, moral person, while also striving to make it in the world and deal with whatever is put in front of me. Yeah.
Joe, hold it right there. I want to ask you this, and then I'll let Lucas get in here. Do you feel like the rate of the pace of technology and how fast things seem to be moving today, do you think that, because I don't know if anybody's really looked into this, but maybe you have, do you feel like because of how fast things are moving these days, it makes that very difficult?
If not impossible, to be honest with you. It's because as soon as you get your feet under the ground underneath your feet, it's moving again, right?
Right.
And so it's extremely challenging, and I think it's very unsettling because what our minds want more than anything, there's a lot of psychology and neuroscience around this right now. Our minds very much value predictability. That's why people can stay in bad relationships, bad jobs, because it may not be a good situation, but at least it's predictable. And so unpredictability is very bad for our minds. It's very difficult to deal with. But the world is, and so this is where I talk out kind of both sides of my mouth. I say, yeah, you have to try, but and you have to make the world, try and make the world what you think it should look like politically and socially, and your own local life, how much money, what kind of lifestyle you want to lead. But at the same time, you have to deal with what's in front of you. The world is changing at a super rapid pace. And so the question is, what can I cultivate internally to cultivate resilience against what's happening? And so, like I said, I advocate for people to work hard for change, to see the change that they want to see in the world. But at the same time, the world is as it is, as we see it. And so it is changing very quickly. And so the question is, what can I do on a daily basis to make myself more robust and resilient to the life that I'm leading here, that's presented before me?
Yeah, but Joe, part of tonight's, the exercise, particularly our first segment, is protest. This is a form of protest to object to the use or the restrictions of language, like fundamental terms like mother and father. Is that not constructive? Because I know you say be compassionate and patient, but how can I be compassionate and patient when they're telling me how to think and what to say?
Well, I'm not saying don't fight back. I think you should fight back. If you think it's wrong what they're suggesting, you should fight back with everything you've got. But to do so with anger in your heart, afflictive emotions can cloud a mind and intoxicate a mind just as much as alcohol or drugs can intoxicate a mind. You cannot think clearly when you are under the spell of a very powerful emotion.
You hear
And
that,
so I
Raging
suggest-
Bull? That's the
So
Raging
you
Bull.
say he's saying I'm under the spell. I'm under the spell of the witch Mert Roberts. Yeah, that's right.
He's Raging Bull over here. You hear that? You got to listen to what he said. He said you need to calm that down and get get some composure to yourself. You can't be angry like this over stuff you don't like. You got to have some compassion.
Yeah, I'm Italian. It's it's in
fighting
my
vigorously
DNA,
for
Joe.
your
I'm
position.
Italian. Come on, give me a break.
I'm also Italian.
There you go. So you know what I'm talking about. Joe, we have to take a quick commercial break. But folks, we have no fear when we return. Joe DeNicholas will rejoin us. For more about Joe and his work, visit unbreakableinc.com and you'll find his book, Seeking Sanity, on Amazon and wherever books are sold. Mert, Alex, and I certainly hope you'll stay right where you are. Joe Nicholas joins us to talk Seeking Sanity when he returns. And if your life feels like a slow-motion collapse held together by caffeine and denial, he'll make you feel right at home. Stay with us. Unless you're the reason everyone else is losing their sanity, in that case, Joe might recommend a strategic disappearance.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 55 East 59th Street, New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate, on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
We love bringing you products that improve your life. Well, this product can save your life. There are approximately 5,000 choking deaths in the U.S. each year. One child dies every 5 days from choking. Did you know older adults are at an increased risk of choking? Yes. And lodged food is the main cause. Ever pop small, bite-sized foods in your mouth like peanuts, grapes, or popcorn? Those foods that people eat by the handful can get overloaded in the mouth, which can cause a choking episode. LifeVac is a simple rescue device that can change a life in a choking emergency. It's non-invasive and easy to use, and one kit fits the whole family. If you have a young child in your family or a senior relative living alone, I strongly recommend you visit the LifeVac website today at lifevac.net. View the videos demonstrating its ease of use. LifeVac works in 3 simple steps: place, push, and pull. The LifeVac device dislodges the obstruction and suctions out the food or object. It's that simple. And it can be self-administered. LifeVac.net, made in the USA and FDA registered.
On Salem News Channel, principled voices are shaping today's conversation. Scott Jennings brings clarity to the toughest debates. Josh Hammer's blistering commentary puts politics and culture on trial. And Alex Marlowe's insight connects us to what matters most. Watch anytime on Samsung TV Plus, Pluto TV, or find us on your screen at snc.tv. 3 new shows, 1 powerful lineup. Salem News Channel, across America.
Everything old is new again on Nostalgia Tonight with Joe Sibilia. Join Joe as he celebrates the people, places, and phenomena that shape popular culture. Sunday nights at 10 on AM 970, The Answer.
Close your eyes and see it. A private island in the Bahamas. Powder white sand under your feet. Jamaica's lush mountains rising out of the sea. Crystal clear waters in the Cayman Islands. Sun-drenched streets and ancient culture in Cozumel. Now step aboard a luxury ship where everything is handled. First-class dining, relaxed elegance. No packing and unpacking, just experience. And at the center of it all, conversations that matter. Salem Media's Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn. Live, unfiltered, engaging with you. Meet them, talk with them, share meals, build relationships with people who think like you and value what you value. This is more than a vacation. It's a celebration of 250 years of American freedom, set against the most beautiful backdrop in the Caribbean. Text Cruise to 94878 to book your cabin. 7 days, November 14th through 21st. The Gulf of America Cruise. Book now. Text Cruise to 94878. From firearms and personal security to defense of the Second Amendment, BearingArms.com is the clearinghouse for guns, ammo, and the Second Amendment. Welcome back to Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas, live on AM 970, The Answer.
We are here with Joe DeNicholas, author of Seeking Sanity, How to Cultivate Peace, Happiness, and Well-Being in a World Gone Mad. Joe's a licensed therapist and a contemplative teacher who blends psychology, mindfulness, and lived experience to help people navigate the emotional chaos of modern life. For more about Joe and his work, visit unbreakableinc.com. You'll find his book, Seeking Sanity, on Amazon and wherever books are sold. We'll also have links posted on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Joe, Mert has a quick follow-up for you. Go ahead, Mert.
Well, you know, I like Joe because he sounds like a guy who could help you out. So I want you to answer this for me if you can do it. Do you feel like it's possible we can make Seeking Sanity something that's cool? Because the most popular forms of entertainment for young men are all chaotic. Rock and roll music, rap music, video games where you're shooting up monsters and all that stuff. That's what we think is cool. Is there a way to make sanity, to be cool? Is that possible?
Well, I think so, because it's a superpower in today's world to be able to remain calm and cool and collected while we're living in the chaos and aggression that we're living in. I think, in any situation, and keep your head clear and be able to respond in a skillful way. I think that's becoming a uniquely rare experience of somebody. And so if we talk about it and say, look at how we act. A lot of psychologists say that the majority of adults have achieved the emotional and psychological maturity of barely a teenager.
Right.
And I don't think that doesn't sound that cool to me. To be a 40-year-old child acting like a kid,
right.
Does that seem cool? That doesn't seem that cool to me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But we're seeing a lot of that. People not growing up. Joe. What does that do to, in your opinion?
Well, I think we kind of get frozen. A lot of it, in therapy, it's kind of a stereotype, but you end up talking about your childhood because that's when you kind of learned, learned kind of how to be from parents and school and all that. But I think a lot of it is just our culture does not encourage internal cultivation. Our school, we're built on this American dream of pursuing happiness, right? Mm-hmm. And never once, at least when I was in school, never once was it said to me, you also need to cultivate your own mind if you really want to thrive. The message I received, which I think most people receive, is go put all the puzzle pieces in place, and then when you do that successfully, you'll plant the flag on the hill of happiness forever. But that's not what anybody seems to find these days. And security is really not there. Like I was mentioning before the break there, people don't work for the same company their whole life anymore. And we're all getting laid off left and right. And so there's not a lot of stability left. And we're not taught how to find that within ourselves.
That's right. We have to find that stability within ourselves. Exactly right. That's why people need to read your book, Seeking Sanity. Now, your book opens with the idea that modern life is louder than ever. So let me ask you, what's the noise that you see overwhelming people the most?
Well, I think what's happening is, there's a lot of political instability, social instability, and really what's happening is I think there's kind of a breakdown of the American experiment, and I think it's getting tougher and tougher to make it, and I think that's what's contributing to a lot of this. That we can't seem to find stability outside of ourselves, and that's just driving us to the edge. And then we have social media kind of pouring jet fuel on the fire that's really causing the worst parts of ourselves to interact with the worst parts of other selves. And we're becoming increasingly disconnected and aggressive and angry and mindless, right? A lot of psychologists today talk about the quiet pandemic. Our attention spans are down to about, I think, an average of 8 seconds.
That's right.
Which
It's
is
ridiculous.
That's a disaster for our mind.
So Joe, social media, an evil, because Mert and I have talked about this, and I think social media is truly evil. But he loves social media, and he's addicted to his video games. So maybe he's living in that infantile world that you're talking about, because he's like Peter Pan. He doesn't want to grow up, but that's becoming the America mantra. I don't want to grow up.
Okay.
Right. Well, I think, technology is agnostic, right? I mean, it's not good or bad in and of itself. It's what we do with it. And what we're doing with it, and you could argue the point that it's net negative, and maybe it is. But I
look
think
at Mert. Look what it's done to him. Look what it's done to him.
You're acting like you're outside climbing trees and stuff like that. You're sitting in your big fancy mansion sipping cappuccinos all day. That's what you're doing. So he's not outside enjoying nature. He's trying to put that on me. But he's the one. I just rode 25 miles.
Technology. I was a technologist. I love technology. It's wonderful.
Exactly.
And I have a lot of wonderful interactions online with people. And then there's some people trying to, muck it up quite a bit. And so I think we have to be very careful, but we're not being, and our school system isn't adapting quickly enough to teach. Like, there needs to be a class on appropriate use of technology, like, to prevent people from losing their minds with this stuff. But we don't educate people on this stuff. We just expect that they're going to figure it out, and it seems like an awful lot of people are not figuring it out.
That's really important you said that, because I feel like
I agree with you, Joe. Go ahead.
I feel like chaos is natural. So you were talking about America is breaking down. I think we've been so high above the rest of how the world operates that we really have to invest in making sure that we understand this is a special thing we have. It's natural for dictatorships and all that corruption you see all over the world, because chaos is the way the universe works. So if we want to keep this thing on a nice and narrow path, it takes a lot of work. So that was very insightful that you said that, because I feel the same way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Joe,
and I
but
think
don't you think?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, don't you, Joe? But I think you hit on it. It's our schools. Our young people, aren't our schools failing our kids, not teaching them about stability, not teaching them how to weed out nonsense from social media, how to not be addicted to their phones, to put their phones away, how to write. They're not teaching kids even how to write anymore, Joe. We're going down the wrong path, don't you think?
Absolutely, and a lot of my clients in the therapy office actually get to the point of anger when they realize I give them basic skills, basic communication skills on how to talk to somebody without, triggering them and getting them to be all defensive and fighting back against you, and basic skills of how to experience an emotion without suffering through it. And the first question out of everybody's mouth is, why wasn't I taught this in school? This is like basic life skills.
Amen.
And we have a lot of social emotional programs. My kids were in them. But then I ask them, how do you experience an emotion? And they're like, I don't know. It's so you question, how effective is any of this? And it doesn't appear to be very effective, because the kids are not doing well, and that's clear. All the data says that. And so it's really kind of sad that we have to memorize the state capitals for some reason, as if that's really important, vital information that I'm going to need to know in my life. But they don't teach me how to take a breath when I'm experiencing anger, how to get my mind back under control, which is something I actually could use, or how to communicate with another human being.
Amen. Amen. So we need a shift, and it needs to start with the school system, because, look, parents are responsible too, but look, many parents are working, are overburdened as it is. So, schools have to bear some responsibility as well, and I think they're failing our kids as well. Now, you talk about emotional overload as the defining feature of our time. What does that look like in real life, Joe?
Overload tends to mean, first, I don't have the skills that I need to be okay, to know that I'm okay. I feel alone in this. I feel like it's just too much for me. I can't handle this. I don't know what else. I don't know what to do. And that's kind of why I wrote the book, is like, you just need some basic skills and you'll start feeling a lot better. But really the key piece is this aloneness. I have a lot of people that love working from home in my life, right? But I don't think this is gonna go well. A lot of people find friendships. I think up to 20-30% of people used to find their spouse at work. And so I heard a lot of people in New York City are living alone. The majority are living alone. This is not good for us. Even the decrease in alcohol consumption, psychologists are a little concerned about that, because we used to go to bars and interact with each other. And they've run experiments on this. They actually said if you have a commute and on a train or a bus, they actually ran this experiment and said, put your phone away and just talk to a stranger. And then in the control group of the experiment, they said, just do what you normally do, just stare at your phone the whole time. And then the people who actually put their phone down and talked to somebody, their baseline level of happiness increased. And that was not observed in the people staring at their phone. And so we have to realize that we get through this life together, and there's no other way around that. And so we have to take good care of each other. We have to empathize with each other and find new creative ways to have community, because these online communities are not doing it for us, and that's clear.
And put that freaking phone down, Mert.
Well, this is what I would ask you. I would say, how much does that cost? Because that's what it's all going to come back to. Because if I get up and start walking around talking to people, that don't cost anything. But if it turns into, well, now we want to go on vacations together, we want to hang out and be pals, then that's when it gets down to reality, where it's like, man, this guy's draining all my time. I got to work. I got kids. I got all these bills. I can't do that because, and this is how you get into your phone, because it's like, if I just look at what people are creating on social media, I can live vicariously through them, because you don't feel like you can do that for yourself. So it's a rough position that people are in.
It's a very difficult position. And I'm not suggesting anything I'm saying that it's easy. It does require some work. But we do have to figure this out, because what's the alternative? To just let this continue? I don't see that as an option.
No, and one option is for them to pick up your book, Seeking Sanity. Now, what's one daily habit that reliably moves people towards sanity, and what's one that pulls them away from it? We only have a couple of minutes, so what do you think?
Sure. I think the number one thing is learn a technique. There are a lot of teachers out there. I'm one among very many people. There's no excuse anymore. That's one of the advantages of that we have technology. There's plenty of people who can teach you this. Find a method that allows you to get out of your head and into your life, and just have a few moments where you just take a deep breath, stop thinking, recognize the room you're in. What do you hear? What do you see? What are you doing? And return to your life with a little bit of presence. If you do that 5 times a day, you will be living in a different reality. That is literally all it takes. Is take a deep breath to calm your body down, and find a method. And very simply, you just become aware of the space you're in. That alone kind of gets you out of this self-ruminating thing, this mind that sits and obsesses over itself constantly. That is not peace of mind. A mind that is constantly judging every moment. Is this what I want? Can it be better? And is constantly thinking about itself, which is what most people's minds are doing all day. That is never going to lead to peace of mind. And so just learn a method to get out of your head and into your life, and check in with yourself 5 times a day and see what happens. And then at the end of that, after you take a breath, return to your life with a little bit of presence and see what happens. And if you do that for a number of months, you'll be living in a new reality.
And you can get to that point, my friends, by picking up Joe's book, Seeking Sanity. Unfortunately, Joe, we have run out of time. For more about Joe and his work, visit unbreakableinc.com. You'll find his book, Seeking Sanity, on Amazon and wherever books are sold. And we'll also have the links posted on our website, shakeitofflive.com. Did we get that right, Joe?
You did. Thanks very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for coming on the program. Next up, Barry Hoffner, traveler, storyteller, and founder of Caravan to Class, the nonprofit bringing education to communities across some of the remote parts of West Africa. He's got a new book, Belonging to the World, and we'll be talking to him about that. So it's imperative you come back after the news at the top of the hour, suffer through a few commercial messages, but once that's all done, Mert, Alex, and I, along with the rest of the AM 970 team, will be waiting right here for you. We know you want it. We know you want to shake it off with us. We know you do. So please come back for hour 2 of Shake It Off with Mert and Lucas Live. Lots more controversy and maybe, just maybe, some answers await. So stick around. After the break, Barry Hoffman joins us to talk about his book, Belonging to the World. And if you've been feeling like you don't quite fit in, Barry's about to explain why that actually might be the beginning of something good. Don't go anywhere unless you're allergic to curiosity, in which case the next segment might be hazardous to your health.
The preceding hour of programming, sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.
When the world is just too much, turn it off and turn on positive, encouraging K-Love.
I'm gonna praise.
World off. K-Love on.
K-Love is sunshine for my soul.
I love K-Love.
Listen now on your radio, online, or on the free K-Love app.
K-Love makes me feel so good.
Positive